we could work together to promote across all platforms the work that we're doing, that is in common, the work that Warren's doing, the work that Frederick's doing, that Shanti's doing, that Dr. Gail's doing, that all of the folks on this call are doing independently, and we'll figure out how we can do it together in synergy. That is to me, that's the future, and that's the way through.
I just wanted to invite us to take a breath. Like I think there's a moment of pause here. Let's just pause and take a deep breath in. Feel our feet on the ground. Let it go. There's a lot of energy here. I just want to affirm that there's no scarcity of resources or energy. Like, we're empowered in this work together. We're going to build something beautiful. This is the beginning.
Nice, Jordan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think I want to add on to what Jordan just did, and just to say, maybe take another breath. Just in the context that when we're doing this work for the young people, and there are no young people here, it lets the adults think they know so much. So we are all trying to figure out what to do next to make it so powerful and impactful, and we don't know how to rest. Young people know how to rest. They're like, I'm done. I'm gonna sit down, sit on the couch, do nothing. We busy ourselves, right? We got a lot of things we got to do. We got lots of things to check off the list. And I think sometimes we miss the opportunity just to just be. Just be. Everyone here has facilitated something before, and right, you're trying to make sure it all goes well, and you come out and you're like, what are we doing? How is this going to work? What are we doing? And sometimes in the process of just trying to fill the time, we just threw some stuff together that wasn't worth our time. And what I want to encourage you to just be in the moment of that, we have enough knowledge in here to do amazing things, and we don't need to always fill every moment. So I want to encourage that if we're going to go into these rooms, take a breath. Maybe just start with some gratitude. It's Sunday night. I don't know if anybody's going to go talk to their city representative tonight or something, but we're probably not doing it tonight. So how about we just give ourselves a room to say, all right, if we're going to make some lists, don't make some lists just to put on the list for next week to go over at the meeting. Let's say, how can we move with energy forward? What energy do we take into tomorrow? What energy do we take into our sleep tonight? What energy do we take into our week and the holidays or the new year? What energy are we taking in? Because another list of stuff to do, I don't know if anybody needs another list. I don't know. I don't. Let me just say that. I'll speak for me. I don't need another list of things to do. My list, I got 4 journals over here. I don't even know where to start. So I want to encourage all of us when we go into these rooms to not be in a hurry to try and make a list of stuff to do. That's going to add more pressure and stress and anxiety to your life. But go with an intention. How do we come out of this with an intention? That's what I want to offer.
Thank you. Shanti, what would be the top 5 things on your list?
On my own.
Here we go.
Thank you, Ashanti, for
we
that.
should all be on the top of our list to take care of this so that we can take care of all. I think we could all up our way of self-care and balance. We could just make sure that we are part of the service, that we all know we could do things just a little bit better in how we take care of ourselves, and to let that be part of the process in how we serve others.
Thank you, Claudia. And I remember the hard lesson that Dr. Jamie Metzel shared with us a few days ago about how we started a youth council when we started One Shared World together. And we went to them and asked them to do something, and they said, no, we want to do this. And as the adult, it was hard for him to hear that, but to walk the talk, he had to say, okay, we'll do what you want to do. You're the leaders in this moment. So I'm going to hold that as my intention as we move into this next space.
So Parth, before we get going, Frederick's got to finish something that he started. Because
exactly.
I was in the middle of a sentence. I was reminded from our rich conversation in our small circle of what Sobonfu Some said, that teens commit suicide because of the unexpressed grief of the elders. And I think that that statement is so rich and so powerful, and it serves me as a reminder that I have to model every authentic expression of myself, including all of the emotions, to not only young people, but anyone, if I expect the same response out of them. So I have to be willing to go to my grief. And if ever there was a time for all of us to be willing and ready to go to grief, this is it. This is it. The old world is dead and gone. And there's a lot of grieving to be done around that before we can move on to the next one. That's what I was saying.
Oh, thank you.
I hope we'll also always, when we hear statements like male privilege and male entitlement, that we can remember that our obligation of almost every generation before us was to be willing to be disposable in war and to just, work to death to be the primary breadwinner, even if we did things we didn't want to do to get there, and to keep our feelings to ourselves. And that unexpressed grief is the price that we paid. It's not about male privilege. It's not about male entitlement. It's about a type of male sacrifice that this group is beginning to address and free people from having to be the prisoner of.
Yeah. And Dad never talked about the 6 years in the war, World War II.
No.
Never talked about it.
Unexpressed grief. And certainly not male privilege.
So we can all model that sharing.
Yes, yes. And I think one of the best ways to do that is knowing how to conduct family dinner nights so that they don't become family dinner nightmares. And learning how to teach ourselves and our children to listen to each person at the dinner table during the family dinner nights, and to share with them what we heard them say until the person who is sharing says, yes, that's exactly what I wanted to say. That's not distorted. Thank you for it. So that the experience of the family is an e pluribus unum experience, where the experience of the family is that we are one here, but like e pluribus unum, we're one from many, and each of us can be heard with our perspectives without being interrupted, without being blamed, without being distorted. But the family unit is the one that will hold us together.
Thank you, Warren. I want to just say something real quick, and that is that we are heading towards the close of this. And having done many summits and stuff like that, I'm just recognizing the grief I'm going to feel when I wake up tomorrow, or maybe even later on tonight, and I recognize that I'm not going to be connected to all of these beautiful souls that I've been connected to for the last 5 days. And I can feel that coming on. And I know I lived with anticipated grief in my family system, and then not being able to express it. I'm just noticing now, and I just want to give pause to it to recognize that grief is just recognizing that what once was is no longer going to be again. So I just want to hold the space for the tenderness I've felt, for the connection and inspiration, for the great deep gratitude, for the generosity that I've seen, for the hearts and the courage and the passion, and just to acknowledge that and say, I feel more human and more complete because of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, T. Greg. You reminded me of one other thing that Sabonfu taught me, and that is that the cycle of grief is not complete until it's witnessed. And now more than ever, we need to open our doors, open our Zoom meetings, whatever, and be witnessed in our collective grief so that we do not suffer from it alone and drown from it alone. We need to have that collective holding. And we can all, as Sabonfu always did, take us to the altar of grief and express it there, share it there, and be witnessed there until it's expunged.
One of the things that almost any person can start to do to help them to express collective grief, unexpressed grief, in a safe, confidential way, is to start a men's group of both peers and men and boys, younger men that are of different ages, and to tap into that in the two ways that are most powerful. One is that it's everything that's said in that group is confidential, and that there's no one in the group who is dominant, so that everyone has a chance to express their feelings, and those feelings have a chance to be heard by everyone in the group in an undistorted way.
Is there anybody here that has a grief they want to express or name to the group?
Hero moment, fire eagle with passionate heart, also known as Izengoha, the people's king. I feel the grief of the lessons not shared with my father. I feel the grief of the quiet times we never had that I wanted and longed for. I feel the grief of blaming him for my shortcomings before I became aware of my power, and waiting until now to even look at the wound. Ashe.
Ashe.
Beautiful, Daryl.
This is Steve in NorCal. I have a piece of grief which I'm processing, and I will work on in my men's group tomorrow. But I have a great sadness about the poor relationship between my wife and my daughter, and the pain that they each feel because they're unable to connect with each other in a way that the other feels and hears. It's a heavy weight right now for me. And as I mentioned, I'm working on it tomorrow in my men's group.
Great.
Thank you, brothers, for allowing me to express that to all of you.
Oh, I have a deep grief. A man that I've known for 50 years, I grew up with, passed away this morning.
Oh.
And I am sharing that grief with you. I just like to call David Purvis's name into the circle. David was a good friend of mine. I spent many years with him in college, riding back and forth to class together. And he grew up in my neighborhood, and he was one of my close friends, and he passed this morning. So I just want to bring his name into the circle, David Purvis. Thank you.
David Purvis.
David Purvis.
David Purvis.
David Purvis.
David Purvis.
I'd like to ask for to be witnessed, and my sister and my mother never figured out how to have a heart connection, and my sister is still alive. My mom made her transition in June in a car accident, and I've had a chance to do my grieving quite a bit with my support network. So I've definitely felt that, and I thought I'd take the opportunity of it's to just in this space to have all your beautiful energy and attention. If we could just honor my mom, Eleanor, in the space, and maybe if you all would mind repeating her name, Eleanor Helen.
Eleanor Helen. Eleanor Helen. Bless you.
Eleanor Helen.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
I'm grieving the loss of a mentor. Mentor of mine. He didn't pass away. He's still alive, but who I thought he was died, and came against some wickedness in his life, and he brought me into this work in a lot of ways, and watching your mentors die me watching that was hard, and I'm grieving the loss of what was.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Jordan.
Ashe, brother, we feel you. Ashe.
Bless you, Jordan.
I'm grieving the loss of my brother, who just had a psychotic split a few months ago from on the first anniversary of the sudden death of his twin brother, and he also had some medical issues and had the split a couple months ago, and he was just released from the hospital, or he just had his last shock therapy. They tried everything else, but they still couldn't bring him out, and but the shock I forget, it has a softer name, but he is out now, but he's not the same brother that I knew, and I'm just hoping that he keeps healing and comes back. He's been a tremendous big brother. He's been the patriarch. He's been the successful financial person, always helping everybody. But our family lost our mother when we were young boys, and that grief was not something that our World War II father could handle very well. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex.
What's your brother's name, Alex?
It's Tony. My brother Tony.
I'm grieving the loss of all the wild animals on the planet, which used to be 100%, except for some small domesticated incidents, and now only 4% of the animals on the planet are wild. Only 4%.
I'm grieving the loss of physical touch, of being able to hug my friends. People in my extended community, I'm missing that. I'm grieving it. Back.
I hear you, Jeff. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm grieving the loss of the great ones, the whales, the teachers, those who last forever, and we still can't find a way to understand. So we slaughter them, and we talk about honoring culture and doing it, but we've never tried to communicate with them. I'm feeling at some point they won't be able to teach us about the world we don't understand. Ashe.
I'm grieving the loss of a long-term relationship I ended a couple of months ago, and it's still trying to grieve it, unravel it, be with it. It's just affecting me emotionally, psychically, spiritually, mentally. So that's it.
Thank you,
Dan. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Dan.
guess you could say I'm grieving that this whole COVID thing it's just a stress on human relationships. I mean, people, and if you live alone, it's hard. And then if you live with somebody, it's hard too, because people can have differences as far as I don't know, things like social distancing, and it's just been hugely stressful. And I had a close female friend. She's going through a lot of financial and other types of stress, and it was just too much. I think the friendship is over with, unfortunately. But it's been the hardships on people's relationships, and I just want this year to be over with. That's all.
Thank you, Jean.
Thank you, Jean.
Thank you.
I'd like to begin to transition to a close here, and this call will be open for another 45 minutes. We have some entertainment coming up. We have a bunch of things to do after this session, just to close this session out with some deep gratitude and an ongoing awareness of the unexpressed grief in my body and in our collective body. My teacher, Joanna Macy, and my mentor, Jack Zimmerman, who lives here on the Big Island, say that it's the collective awareness of our grief that will move us forward. It's denying the grief that will keep us from stepping into our next and new way of being. And I really believe we're in a pivotal moment, not just with Lisa Ling, but the entire culture is beginning to shift. And as Dr. Andy Mecca said yesterday, our mythology is starting to take over. The most popular streaming program right now in the world is something called The Mandalorian, and it's about a man who takes care of a child, who looks after a child, and supports and empowers a child. And that's the most popular thing in pop culture right now, and that's beautiful. So we are in the middle of, as Joanna called it, the great turning. And we are the change makers. We are the ones, and we're not alone. We are not alone. Everyone who's heard this message, everyone who's connected with their grief, with their wounds and their understanding, and those who've discovered the Kuleana, their sacred responsibility, together we can lead, arm in arm. And my invitation is that we do that together. And so I'm checking out of this circle, this session, with deep gratitude, great appreciation for the wisdom and the open hearts. In particular, I'd like to thank our special facilitators today, Jordan Bowman, Frederick Marks, Ashanti Branch. I also like to thank Warren Farrell, Rick Broddick. And I know I've missed a bunch of people. Each of you are facilitators. Each of you have mentored me. I'm so grateful. And especially for you, Parth. I'm going to turn it over to you, brother.
Thank you. So I want to ask the group here, do we want to take a break or do we want to go right into the completion? I feel like the space is really palpable and we don't have very long to complete. So, and we're going to complete on a high note with inspiration and some words of poetic exuberance. And so I leave it to the community here. Would you like to take 5, come back, or are we ready to just complete in 30, 40 minutes? 5? I'm hearing a lot of 5s. Great. So
yeah, let's go ahead and take 5, but if you want to stay on and keep connecting, by all means, please do.
Thank you for your great work, Michael and Parth and T. Greg and Joe. It's really
thank you.
Wonderful experience.
Yeah, and Michael, I don't know if you're open to it or if the group's interested in it. I've done a lot of Zoom things over the course of the summer, And there's a way you can use breakout rooms as social rooms where people can actually move from room to room. And it's a great way to just facilitate people that just want to connect. And, like there were lots of people on this call that I haven't seen in years. And we could also take this time to, create some social rooms and let people just connect, kind of free form.
So, Jeff, that's a beautiful invitation. What I would like to do is go through our sort of formal closing, and then we'll leave it open, and I'll make you the host where you can actually do that.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's what I was thinking. Like, let's wrap it up, and then those that want to stick around can stick around.
Yeah.
There's some of us that are always the last ones to leave the party.
Just make sure you clean up before you go.
The beauty is Zoom does that for you.
I forgot. We were on a Zoom call.
Yeah, I'm not going to come clean your place up.
That's okay. I got a cat who will. She's looking at me like, you're going to feed me is what you're going to do.
I was going to say, I know you're talking about me.
Does anyone know how Lisa Ling reached out to Ashante and worked with them to film that and how that all came about? I didn't see Ashante on the call. Is he still here?
Yeah. No, she reached out to...
there you are.
It was through a connection through Warren. And she reached out to Dr. Mark Schillinger from the Young Men's Ultimate Weekend. And then they had reached out to me separately. And I told them I was going to be there facilitating. And they were like, oh, we're going to probably be there. And I was like, well, that's 2 for 1. And it worked out really well.
I want to say thank you to all of you who started with your will and a phone call. Whether it was last week, whether it was a decade ago, whether it was 30 years ago. Started with your will and a phone call. And so as we wrap up this summit, we share gratitudes and acknowledgements and recognitions. Firstly, for all of your work and all of your teachers and elders that stand on your shoulders that have brought you here. We also thank all the elders that can't be with us in physical spirit, right? And we thank your will and your phone call.
Thank you, Parth. And thank you so much for all the magic, Parth, that you have brought into this space, including getting a big yes from this incredible magician who's about to speak, Michaelah. I'm just so touched and honored she said yes. This is a dear sister I sat in ceremony with years ago. And when we met, she just lit me up. And I think it was about 1.5 years ago, we had the opportunity to do an event that Parth also created at, it was like a comedy artist night, and we all got to share our gifts, and I got to have my first comedy show as well. So it brings me great pleasure to introduce Michaelah. She is a relationship coach and a wordician who works with men, women, couples to unleash their confidence and take control of their life through awakened awareness, embodied empowerment, and newfound inspiration. Michaelah holds a master's degree in marriage and family therapy and art therapy. In 2020, she completed an extensive love, sex, relationship coaching program from the Tantra Institute of Integrated Sexuality. Enjoy this incredible human being who's going to delight you like you've never seen before. Michaelah, welcome.
Thank you, Claudine. And my name is pronounced Michaelah, but that is okay. All good. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you all so much. I came on the conversation about grief and feel that deeply. We are all deeply grieving right now. So many losses, and I'm just feeling all of your hearts right now. And I'm just going to invite you, if you all just want to take a nice big deep breath into your heart, just feeling that heart. And if it feels good, you could just close your eyes and just allow my words to just wash over you. And I am a wordician, so I will be playing with words here, but just not just listen, but you can just listen. So just invite you to sit back and enjoy. Dreaming angels, awaken. The reality of a unified humanity is dawning. Our world is in the midst of a great and powerful relation shift, the likes of which we've never witnessed before. The old ancestral stories of distorted and polluted myths are surfacing. And we're coming to recognize the falsity and nightmare that we are separate from God and each other. Eminent breakthroughs of human awareness are accelerating on an astronomical level, and this consciousness is expanding at God's speed. We are at the precipice of the emergence of the soul's reclamation of radical self-love that is imperative for our survival on planet Earth. This collective awakening has reached the tipping point, that magical moment where we cross the threshold of our own awareness and come to realize we live in a realm of infinite possibilities where anything can happen and anything is possible. As we break free from old unhealthy conditioning, duality thinking, and the limitations that once restrained us, and witness the power of our heart's imagination, we blossom into a new realm of existence where miracles become reality. This is the awakening of creation, where dreams are realized and heaven on earth is revealed. This is the nowment. This is our wowment of true sovereign freedom as we come to celebrate and accept our authentic divinity through the process of surrendering who we think we are in our ego state into who we truly are in our divine essence, love. This divine love that we are all born with can never be compromised, nor can our worthiness of love ever be denied. Love God's us, and love is God for us. When we embrace the totality of ourselves as lovable, worthy, and capable of healing, we simultaneously embody the ability to practice compassion, mercy, and forgiveness for the injustices of the world. Peace happens within. Healing from trauma and victimhood is the most important and vital step you can take toward contributing to a better world and a healthy humanity. As we take this leap of faith together and begin leading from the heart instead of the mind, when we begin to focus on solutions rather than focusing on problems, when we start practicing gratitude and forgiveness rather than condemnation, hate, and blame, when we stop pointing our fingers and we start looking at ourselves, then we can start to experience true inner peace, which is self-love. Self-love is self-awareness, and it's a prerequisite to happiness. It is the most important contribution you can offer, not only to yourself, but to everyone around you. It's time to rebuild our world from a foundation of love, trust, respect, honesty, honor, and integrity in order to experience. Action determines destiny. What we do for one of us, we do for all of us. We are all sacred and vital to the force. It takes teamwork to make the dream work. Life is a miracle unfolding. Be grateful and forgive. Have the courage to love yourself and others. Peace has its victory, and this moment awaits us all. So surrealiously, it's time to go gratical. That's gratitude meets radical, and take this mother-loving shift show to the next level. It's time to get some leverage around here. Empowering men is empowering humanity. And what we're all here to figure out right now is, who am I here to be? What am I here to be? And how am I here to serve? And we are here to be love. What are we here to be? Change, presence. And what we're all here to do for the most part is healing and transformation. It's so simple. It has just gotten so convoluted, hidden under so much grief and pain and suffering. And this is our time. And I am so inspired to know that there are good men out there doing this work, saying, I'm going to be embodied in my power. I get to express my feelings and share emotions and know that it's safe to do that. That has not always been honored as a masculine quality, but we are redefining everything in this world. That's why I call myself a relationship coach, because we are in the greatest shifts of our lives right now. What we are doing has never been done before. Who you are becoming as men has never happened. And everyone needs an inspiration. Everyone needs a role model. And right now, we're making this shift up. We got to make it up. What does it look like to have integrity all the time? What does it look like to be honest and transparent? What does that look like? We get to just make it up. It's so exciting. Yeah, to be able to express. And, I just noticed that, for a lot of men, they just feel lost, and uninspired and just really not sure where to go. And where women have had a lot of space held, there's just a lot of that lacking for men. So it's just a time that we honor the equality and how necessary it is for men to feel, to emote, to cry. And I just want to let you know that is safe. And empowered women love men who share emotions. That is sexy. Trust and truth are the best sexual positions, everyone. That is like the highest way we can come inside of these relationships. That is how we make it to the elevation ship, right? Because we've been in the relationship for far too long, but it's time to compost that relationship and turn it into our fertile wiser. So we use all of these things that have happened to us. We use them as growth. We use them to transform our lives. We use these challenges, these difficulties, these hardships, this pain and this suffering to be better people, to create a new world for the children to come and have a new experience of what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman. We all get to decide this together as we step into our divinity. And it takes a time. It takes, it doesn't just happen overnight. But it does require you to imagine what that would look like. What does it look like? A modern integrated man look like? And only you know. And you know what? You know that from deep inside your heart, there is a deep knowing. Because even if you haven't had that role model out there, the divine masculine has always been there for you. The divine father and the divine mother have always been there. Just tapping into that. How would the divine father respond in this situation? How would the divine mother respond? Because we are both masculine and feminine. These are polarities that we are working out right now. And we are coming into balance with these polarities. And yeah, we just take our time, right? Take your time or someone else will. We just go slow and just keep having integrity. Requires you to always keep having more integrity. The leaders of this world, to be a leader in this world means that you have integrity, meaning you're always up leveling. If you come out of integrity, the only thing you're required to do is to come back into integrity. And that just requires you to be vulnerable, to apologize, and to acknowledge where you had a shadow. So I'm just so grateful to be here, to bear witness to the work that's being done here. And just to know that there is a war for our consciousness, everyone. And I want to let you know that fear is more than a feeling, everyone. It's a force. And there's only one force greater than fear. and that's love. And you know what? Love's got everything to do with it. You got a heart, and it's made to be open. So bless your lives. Continue to breathe in and cultivate and bring your brothers together and talk about these things. And yes, I am here for you. I'm here to witness you. I'm here to hear you. I'm here to acknowledge your experience. All those messy parts want to be seen and understood by someone who can hold it. And that's all it takes, is someone who's done the work. That's how easy it is to change. It's just to be around. We have mirror neurons. And these mirror neurons mean that when we're around someone who's positive and uplifting and happy, we feel that. And we also feel sad and depressed when we're engaged with someone who's sad and depressed. So when we do the work on ourselves, it impacts everyone. A waterfall starts with a drop of water. That's it. And then the waterfall flows. We are going from, this is the Kali Yuga age, the darkest time, but we're right at that tipping point, the golden age. And that's when things get so beautiful. This is the moment that we get to rewrite everything. We get to rewrite our stories. We get to rewrite all our scripts. We get to find out where feelings come from and really understand how to transform in a good way, a way that is sustainable, that is loving, that is kind, that is open, that is receptive, and that is empowered. So I thank you. I thank you, Claudine. And I thank you all for just so much love. Parth, thank you for calling me today. I feel so grateful to be here, to be in this group with mostly men. I see women here too, but just that you're coming together to talk about the grief, because there is so much grief. There is so much that we get to heal from, and healing is possible. What happens when healing becomes healed, everyone? It becomes whole, okay? And that's what's going on. We are all part of the whole, and that's where we are. That's what's happy beginning, okay? Here's a new word, peaceness. And I'm very persuasive, okay? This is consciousness, okay? This is like we are in a quantum leap of our awareness right now. We're coming into something that's never happened before. Partnership.us. Instead of partner, it's partnership.us. I'm offering a free discovery call. If you want to talk to me, you want to discuss to see if we're a good fit, I'm totally open to that. I'm totally available, and I'm completely authentic. So let's do this, people. We got this. I'm so proud of you all. Yay. Thank you.
Michaelah, thank you.
for listening.
Let's take a moment just to see all of the hands that are moving because of the waters that you've gotten flowing here. Michaelah, thank you for your medicine, for your soulful medicine. Thank you for saying this. And to the point of the waters nourishing us, as Michaelah's soulful medicine nourished us, there's been the life-giving water of funds and that type of fluid energy that we also want to thank. And we want to say, we want to thank those folks for allowing this space and this container to be here. Because without them, without that water energy, this would not have been made possible. So I'd like to pass the baton over to Michael now, who's going to give those gratitudes.
And I do want to thank our sponsors, the Boys and Girls Club of Bloomington, a coalition to create a White House Council on Boys and Men, the Mankind Project, USA, Wisdom Windfall, it's about purpose, the Global Initiative for Boys and Men. I'd also like to invite anyone who would like to become a board or committee member to contact our governance chair. You can also reach out to Parth or myself or anybody connected to the summit and let us know that you want to serve. And finally, please remember, bless a young person today and every day. Thank you. Deep gratitude to each of you.
Thank you, Michael, for all the hard work, and Parth and whoever else is on your team. You guys really rocked this.
Speaking of our team, Parth, could you remind everyone who our team was?
Could you pin them all up so we can see them?
Well, they're on the call. They're not all on the call. So
okay.
Well, if you are a team member on the call, just use your reaction, use your thumbs up reaction, just so people know that you were part of this process in some way, shape, or form. Great. So you can see the team members, right? Wonderful. So just allow yourself to receive for a moment from the collective.
I couldn't have imagined a more incredible landing of this event with you, Michaelah. Thank you so much. Your light, your joy, your upliftment, your heart. It's just divine. Thank you.
And can she type her website into the chat?
I just did that.
Yay!
Yay!
Please, she's amazing.
We don't see it, so make sure you selected everyone as the recipient in the chat. Thank you.
There it is. Would anyone like to say, just on behalf of the group, and then we're going to pass it to any elder who'd like to bless us before we pause this formal part of the night. So is there anyone on behalf of the collective that would just like to acknowledge the team?
I remember years ago in a dark room, someone lit a candle, and then another, and then another. In the time of maybe 2 or 3 minutes, the room was aglow. And that person spoke and said, each one of these are heavenly spirits. And they're here to support you. They ask nothing, but that you respect them the way you respect yourself. I had to be invited by one spirit. And I took a risk and listened to my heart that said yes. And lo and behold, I emerged amongst all of you. And you lift me up. I am not alone. My humanity is reaffirmed as one of the continuum. I'm evolving. I'm not there yet. And what a beautiful container. What a beautiful group of mentors and facilitators and conscious people who dream big enough to include me as I fail, evolve, and share my gifts. I am Daryl, second son of George and Virgie Moment, descendants of slaves from Virginia. And I honor you for giving me back amongst you my humanity. Ashe. May the ancestors hear me.
Ashe.
Dallas, would you grace us with an elder blessing as we complete? Whenever you're ready.
For this day. We thank you for sending all of these spirits and all those that have invited all these spirits together today, the last 5 days, to feed us. And I got full myself. I overflowed with a lot of food, spiritual food. want to send a special blessing out to those that are around us now and that we meet. We meet the young people. Bless them as we were instructed by one Spirit. We also meet the lost, scared, confused, lonely, weak, isolated. The Spirit knows how to identify those. The Spirit is not alone. Once we know that, once we know our Spirit, we are never alone. And I heard my brothers and sisters talk about the loneliness. We ask that Spirit to be, or that tool to be cultivated and practiced and go into maturity in the days ahead of us. Be the leader of who we are. Help us. Help each other. Bring our spirits out and touch one another's lives. The peacefulness, that openness, the kindness, the love. Each and every one of us. We want your spirits to be strong and take over your life, especially on this planet. I have a lot of food I need to take out and share with my relatives. I want to thank all of you for cooking this great meal. Pilamelo Omitakese.
Well said.
So I have a fun closing gesture. Hold your hand up as if you're holding a spoon. And we're going to feed each other and say, "You are my spirit." So you hold a spoon to the thing, the Zoom thing, and say, "Feed each other." Here you go. I'm feeding you. And so, and you go, "Nom, nom, 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 nom."
Feeding you. Feeding you.
I'm feeding you.
Feeding you.
Yum, 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 yum.